Welcome back to our Total Sense Bite-Size episodes. I'm Tom Henske, and I'm here to help parents teach their kids about money. Welcome back. I'm here today to give parents a glimpse into the sports gambling scene in college. Wow, it's big. 67% of all college students are being said to be active participants in sports gambling. And now 6% of college students in the US are reporting having a gambling problem. Look, everything in moderation, as they say, but it's probably a good conversation to start having with your kids. For today's episode, I have someone with us that we're going to refer to as Doug. Just to protect your identity, you're no longer a college student, but were not so long ago, and you really understand the nitty gritty of the college sports gambling scene. So I'm psyched to have you here, Doug. Thanks.
Happy to be here.
So let's jump right in. So tell me, what's your experience in sports gambling?
Well, I'd say I started out just like a lot of people do, where kind of like a sports fanatic. And then in high school, I realized that there were ways that I could profit off knowing a bunch about sports, which, like, when you first hear that, you're like, oh my God, this is like, I mean, like, all my whole life is sports. Now I can like use that knowledge to make money. Like, this is like the easiest money I'll ever make. This is like the best, like, this is amazing. So then I found ways to get onto like offshore betting sites through like friends' identities who were, you got to be like 18 to get on those sites. So I found when I was like a junior in high school, when I was 17, I had a couple of buddies who let me use their account. And then you quickly realize though that it's a lot more difficult than just, oh, I watch 12 hours of football on Sunday, I can make money doing this. But then you think though, it's like, oh, maybe you're just getting unlucky, you know, this, that. So you just keep grinding at it. And then you gotta, and a lot of people don't ever realize that, like, for 99% of people, they're never going to win. It's just the deck is stacked against you. So, but I've been able to kind of find different ways through the years to, I've used negatives and losses, and I don't know. I don't want to hype myself up too much, but I've been able to kind of find my way through it and make money. But I know a lot of people, it's not that easy. So yeah, but I'd say to answer your question, I kind of start out like most people, just thinking, oh, I know a lot about sports, let me make money off it. And then you're kind of in for a rude awakening.
So is it fair to say that you, who spend a lot of time in this space and really understand it, are you a net positive, would you say?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
And then how much time goes into that? Like, how long was it? I don't mean in terms of like hours per week, but like, was this after 2 years, after 3 years of active? Like, at what point do you get good at this so that you're net positive?
Probably took me like 5 years. Like, yeah. And I think, yeah, probably 5 years. For the first 5 years or so, I was mainly just, and I was pretty smart though, like not chasing losses and all that, where, you know, I never went bust or anything, or it was never like problem gambling or anything like that. So I was lucky in that regard, but I was definitely just, you know, new football season. Oh, this will be different. This, you know, I'll turn the tide this year, but it took me a while too. So, but luckily though, I never really lost that much money. Or, I mean, I lost some, but nothing crazy at all. So I was able to turn the tide, and that kind of helped me.
Okay, so it seems like if most college kids gambling don't make money, who's making the money?
Well, are you saying on the gambling on our side, the people betting, or just
on the other, like the other side? It's the websites. I guess it's the bookies, or those are the folks that seem to be making the profit on it, which is like, hey, it's a business, right? Just like anything else. But it would seem like, how lopsided is it? Is it very lopsided, slightly lopsided? Like, where is the line?
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a reason the industry keeps growing. It's because I mean, it's just a simple math game at the end of the day. Because like when you're betting, like most time when you're betting, it's like minus 110 juice. So you're like the deck's stacked against you. You know, the book gets you lose, you pay 11, you win, you get 10. So in the long run, the math more 99% of the time is going to win out for the book. But there definitely are people who win. Like there are plenty of people, not like a ton, but like there are a nice set of people who do make a living betting. So it's like, but you don't want to give false hope because they're like the really like, I mean, those guys are like sharp as can be, you know. So and it takes a while too. So like, I mean, me, like I'm net positive, but I'm not good enough to just quit my job and be like, yeah, I'm going to be betting full time, you know? So it's like, yeah, it's the books they're making. I mean, there's a reason it keeps growing, but there are people who you can make a living betting, but it's like, I mean, it's like trying to be a professional athlete. I mean, they're probably not that hard, but like it's yeah.
Yeah,
you don't want to give hope in that regard.
Yeah, it's funny you're talking about it. In my mind, I was thinking it's like the percentage of becoming a professional athlete, right? So we start off in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade saying we're going to be a pro athlete, right? And then you make your club team or whatever it is. And then fewer kids make the high school team. And then significantly fewer kids play in college. And then an infinitesimal amount play professional sports. It kind of feels like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But the tricky thing is though, is that with like professional athletes, like the tape doesn't lie. You know, like you see, you know, like someone will tell you, oh yeah, like in high school, they'll be like, oh, I'm like a D1 prospect, this or that, and then you like see him play, you're like, oh, you know, he is, you know, or the offers come through, you're like, oh yeah, this guy's D1. In this world though, you get a lot of people who will tell. There's a lot more people who tell you that they win than people who actually win. But the thing is, it's like you can't really verify it though. You know, like someone will tell you they win, and it's like, oh, you know, how do I know if you actually win? You know, it's not like high school basketball where you're like, oh yeah, this guy is D1. So that's a whole nother people telling others that they win and selling picks. That's a whole nother dark hole to go down in this industry. But yeah, I'd say yeah, it's few and far between people who win.
I was so interested before when you were talking about the how. How are the bets placed? And you were talking about the overseas venues to be able to do that. What are the different ways that college kids place these bets, other than just throwing $5 on the table that they're hanging out with watching the game and say, I bet you $5 such and such? But what are the formal ways that kids go and bet?
Well, there's I guess 4 different avenues probably. So there's the most common ones probably like especially or like in legal states, there's like the legal route. Once you turn 21, FanDuel, DraftKings, Caesars. Although you could be like 19, have a brother who's 21 and bet through their name. It's pretty easy to get around. But and then there's offshore sites who it's kind of a gray area, but it's like most of them are pretty. I won't say there's a couple that are very reputable that, you know, if you win a lot, they'll pay you. Like they're not going to scam you or anything. There are some that might scam you, so you know, do your research on that. And then there's like local bookies they call them, which those people have like they have their own site that they don't make the site. They just kind of rent out the site in a sense and pay for using it. And then you can bet through there and then get paid through cash or pay through cash or whatever method. That's kind of like, you want to try to avoid that because you might get people who scam you and it's like, I don't know. It's not FanDuel offshore. You're going to get paid 100% of the time. That way you might not. And then the fourth is just like, oh, you know, you're with your friends. Let's bet $10 on this game. So those are probably four main ways. So yeah, but with legal probably being the most common route, especially with like all the promotions these days, all the commercials. I mean, you just download an app and you're just like, oh, you're on. So yeah, and that's a smart way to do it too, because they're not going to scam you or anything. It's FanDuel. They're not going to not pay you $100. So.
And how does it work when they're not using those sites and they're using a bookie? It seems like they don't lay out the money first when they do that, and then it's kind of just is it just like a goodwill where you place a bet?
Yeah,
and
it's like credit, yeah. So and it's like they'll give you a certain amount of credit for like a week, and then if you like, let's say 500, then if you lose 500 at the end of the week, then the following week you just pay them whatever method you guys agreed on, and then it's. But you could run and lose 500 and just run go into hiding, and probably have no recourse. So yeah, it's like you want to do that though with people who vouch, or people like friend of a friend or something, because that's a world where people will scam other people and not pay debts, and like you said, it's goodwill, and I mean so. You're definitely going to run into people who don't, follow that. So definitely something to probably avoid at best if you can.
And is that then just a Venmo-like transaction, or how does that work? Like when you settle up?
Yeah, Cash App, Venmo. Meet them at a restaurant, pay them $200, whatever it is. So yeah, it's whatever way it works, whatever you guys agree on.
And there's no legal recourse in that world in terms of, like, let's say a kid gets like a little out of bounds with his budget and now can't afford to pay the bookie back. What happens? Does the bookie come and find them and kind of just stop in and say, hey, you owe us X amount of dollars? How does that actually work?
Yeah, I mean, there's really, like you said, there's nothing they can really do. So, I mean, they could threaten, and it's like some people might be scared by the threats and then pay, but a lot of the times the threats are empty. Oh, I don't want to, some people they aren't, so kind of got to know who you're dealing with. But yeah, I mean, I've heard stories on some of that stuff. I've never had to deal with anything like that, because if I lose them to pay, if I try to deal with good people, so if I win, I'm gonna I'll get the money. So I've never had to deal with anything firsthand like that. So, but yeah, someone you lose and don't pay, someone might pull up on you. It's all about who you're dealing with. But like you said, there's no legal recourse at the end of the day, which is why it's kind of, shady a little bit, because there's nothing anybody can really do.
Any stories of people who maybe got a little ahead of themselves? Any horror stories?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I want to go into too much specifics, but yeah, I've definitely friends of friends, or I've heard, I've heard some not so good. I mean, it's super easy, because you could go down whatever you could say oh, you get in your head, you could be like, all right, I'm gonna set my limit at 500. I got 500 in the bank, that'll be that. And then you go down 500 on a college football Saturday, and you're like, oh shoot, that's all my money. Let me get this back on NFL. And then you text them, you're like, oh, can I get 500 more? And they're like, oh, this guy's been good for it up to this point. I trust him. And then, you lose 500 more in NFL. And the next thing you know, you lost more than you have. And it's and then then there's, at that point, there's different routes. Some people just call it quits and run away and try to just never pay. But then some people feel bad about it. And then, in a sense, the people who do want to pay and feel bad about it, that it's almost worse for them, because then they're down 1,000, which they don't have, but they feel bad. So they're like, maybe they'll get a buddy to lend them money, and then they're going to try to get that 1,000 back, and then they lose that. And then it just spirals out of control. And so it's easy. It's a lot easy to say oh, I'm going to set a limit and that'll be that. But then it's once you lose that much, you're like, oh, I got no money. I want to give it all back. And then it's a slippery slope as there can be. And
are there any other ways that they'll pay off the debt? We always used to joke when we were growing up, when we would eat at a restaurant, that if we didn't have money to pay the bill, they'd make you wash the dishes, right? So is there any version of that in the betting world?
I'd say you could, like, I've heard if you're down, yeah, if you, and then the thing is, if you're down and you like need time to pay or that a lot of times, I mean, as anything in the world, like communication is key. Like if you just communicate with people, they're gonna like, at the end of the day, I like to think most people have some heart in them. So like, I feel like if you're down, if you can't pay, but you just communicate, people are going to be like, are understanding and like, they're not going to antagonize you. They want the money, so they're going to be nice about it. But I'd say like, if you're down money that you don't have, like if you get one way would be like, oh, getting some of your friends to join too, because in the long run, they're probably going to lose money. So if you're just like, oh, let me pay off my debt by like getting more friends to join, then a lot of times people will be okay with that. So yeah, there's definitely ways, yeah, and just communicating is key.
And where's the line that you think that you've seen? Where's the line that people need to draw? Like when does it go from a recreational fun to addictive habit?
Mm, mm, that's that's tricky. I'd say just once you start chasing is when that's probably where I draw the line. So like if you're just like and I think a pop kind of on this latest a little sidebar is like I think like losing money in sports betting isn't necessarily like if you lose in the long run, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Well, I mean, you don't want to, but like if you're smart about it and you're healthy about like how much you're betting, if you just put $10. I got friends who'll just put like $10 on a game. They'll lose like $20 every NFL Sunday, and it's like so in the long run they're losing. But then if you really think about it, you're like, oh, they're paying 20 every Sunday for like double the entertainment and intensity and like making them focus on the game. So it's kind of like it's not the end of the world. But then once you start chasing and you're betting things you don't even like, you're not even like confident, and you're just doing it for the sole purpose of like getting your money back, rather than I'm just going to throw 20 on this Sunday night football game. That's when I'd say, yeah, kind of watch yourself. Like it can get out of control. So yeah, like if you lose. You got your method. I'm gonna bet 20 every game, and then you're down $80 going to Sunday Night Football. And then and then you're just like, oh, let me put 80 on it this time to get my money back. That's kind of where I'd be like, all right, I'd put my arm around you and be like, all right, Billy, let's take a step back here. If you want to bet, just throw the 20. It's not the end of the world if you lose $60, but you want to just double that. And then, next week you're chasing again for 160. Yeah. So that's kind of where I draw the line.
And have you ever seen someone's parents get involved with trying to stop the gambling with one of their kids?
Not not really. I think I've seen like parents just kind of like roll their eyes like, oh, what are we betting today, like, or this isn't smart, just kind of little stuff like that. But I've never seen like, oh, like actively like trying to sabotage it, because at the end of the day, you're we're early 20s, we're kind of our own people. We can, and there's just so many avenues to doing it that it's like it's pretty much impossible for a parent to just put a full stop to it. If someone wants to bet, they're going to be able to, just with how many avenues there are.
So knowing what you know, what's the conversation that the parent needs to have with the kids before they start gambling?
I'd say, as harsh of a reality as it is, I'd say tell them they're probably going to lose. Like, and I think that's something that all the promotions, and I know a lot of people in the gambling like Twitter community feel this way, or that like the gambling, the promotions on like commercials they give just so much false hope. Like, and I guess, I mean, that's kind of, their job, that's a lot of promotions in the world. They give you false hope. So like, then people just think it's kind of what I said, where it's like, oh, I watch every NBA playoff game. I can make money betting these NBA parlays. But it's like, that's just not the case. Like if like a parent can get through to a kid and be like, 99% of people lose, like that'd probably be the starting point. Just make them come in with like because like I said, you're probably not going to stop it, but if you make them aware that like they're probably going to lose, like one, maybe after a couple weeks they'll realize that's the case and they'll stop, or two, they'll go into it like betting less because they're expecting to lose. So I think there's pros to that. And I mean, I don't have any sources on hand, but I'm sure you can do a quick Google search and find what percentage of gamblers are losing and winning, and it's a lot more losing. So that's kind of the way. It's kind of a harsh reality, but like that's kind of how I'd approach it.
What didn't I ask you that you think that parents or kids should know about besides what we already talked about? Is there anything that you're sitting there saying, why isn't he asking me about this?
Well, I guess I wouldn't expect you to ask about this because I know a lot of people aren't aware of this, but like, and this is like a lot of people's favorite things to bet on like FanDuel and DraftKings on the same game parlays, and that's like what a lot of promotions are. Like, do not bet those. That would be like my number one. Like, if you're gonna bet, do not bet same game parlays. It's like, so they're like, do you know what a same game parlay is?
No, explain it to me. Yeah, no, I want to know.
So it's like you can click a game. So like, who plays tonight? 76ers Celtics. And then you can click the game on FanDuel, and then there's like every category: points, rebounds, assists, 3-pointers made, turnovers maybe, and you can pick like, all right, Jason Tatum's gonna have 20 points, Embiid will have 20 points, Derek White will have 3 assists, Malcolm Brogdon will make 2 threes, shout out UVA. Like, and then you parlay all these things that you think are super likely. And then you go into it and you're like, how is this going to lose? Like, I just need Tatum and Embiid to get 20 and all this. And then it's like you're parlaying like 10 different things. And then every time, like, well, not literally every time, but like more times than not, one of them's, I mean, it's a one basketball game. There's variance. Like one or two of the things won't happen and you lose money. But the key thing is that the odds are just so like jacked up because it's like a one-way market where it's like you're just betting someone to get 2 plus rebounds or 4 plus rebounds or 6 plus or whatever, and they just jack up the. It would take like 15 minutes to truly like get in depth and like the whole. I need a whiteboard to do all the math, but like they just jack up the odds so crazy. Like Tatum to get 30 points right now is probably like minus 500 odds or something crazy. When in reality it should be like minus 200 or something. And but they do that for everything. They just jack up the odds so you're not really getting your true money's worth with doing it. So then and then in the long run, you're going to lose doing it. Like, just don't do same game parlays. The math, and you could probably do a Google search on this too, but like the math is so against you for same game parlays that like the math's already against you when you're betting like NFL spreads, but this is even like 3 times as against you. So do not do same game parlays.
All right. Well, when I start betting, I'll make sure no parlays, none, zeros.
Well, you could do like parlay. You could parlay like Chiefs -3 and Bills -5. But just the same game parlays. Don't do that. Do not do that.
All right, folks, you heard it here first. This was amazing. What a great, insightful walk through the sports gambling scene. Thank you. Really, we appreciate you spending the time and taking us through this.
Sure. Yes, sir. Happy to have been able to join and hopefully educate the people out there.
I hope you enjoyed our episode of Total Sense. A special thank you goes out to Verso Studios at the Westport Library. Tune in for our next Money Chat.